My name is Matthew Fritz, and you found Fun Size Fritz. Today on Fun Size Fritz, we're talking about dealing with rejection and disappointment. I'm going to show you 4 points to help you work through the experience when you're facing it based upon some disappointment I faced not that long ago. Recently, I was rejected from a composing competition I had entered. I thought I'd created something really cool, and while I didn't think for a second I was actually going to win, I was at least hopeful that I'd make it through the first round of selection. That unfortunately did not happen, and I wasn't the happiest person in the world at the moment either. However, I realized I was at a critical juncture, and I knew the way that I was about to handle the situation would define whether or not I'd have a future in a field that genuinely interests me. Did it sting, and was I upset? Absolutely. Was it the end of the world, though? No. That brings me to my first point. It's okay to be upset. People will tell you, don't get upset. Screw that. Rejection sucks. What they really mean is that they don't want to hear about it. Being rejected is part of life, and it's perfectly natural and understandable to be upset in that situation. What you can't do, though, is allow both it and your reaction to it to define you. You have to work through it in a healthy way. You can't get caught up in the suckiness of what's going on and be down in the dumps forever, but you still need to allow yourself time to identify how you feel and work through it. Even people who have been in their chosen fields for decades still face rejection and disappointment. Why? Because nobody bats 1,000 no matter who they are. Not everyone in the universe is going to like what you make, do, say, etc. either. Did I think I had something really cool? Absolutely. Was it seen that way by the judges? Not whatsoever, but that's okay. Did it bother me though? 100%. But I also knew that I wouldn't feel that way forever. You have to find a way out by processing your feelings and emotions, and the best way out of the situation is going to be by barreling right through it. Do not let it control you. Take a break and go do something completely different for a little while. It's not the end of the world, no matter how much it hurts in the moment. When I finished taking stock of how I felt and dealing with it, I moved on to step number 2. Identify what went wrong. It's important to be honest with yourself and not buy into the delusion that you did everything perfectly or that there is always something fundamentally wrong with other people as a knee-jerk reaction. Even in cases where someone genuinely does everything perfectly, they can still fail. So perfection can't be a driving factor, and we wouldn't be able to hide behind that anyway. Ask yourself what you did wrong fundamentally. If you'd rather phrase it another way, though, you can always come at it from a more positive angle and ask what you could have done better. In my case, maybe I could have featured brass more prominently instead of just being a bare bones sonic support element. The reason I did that, though, stems from the fact that I'm just not comfortable at all yet with brass sections. I'm fully aware of that fact, though, that I just don't know a ton about them yet. But how do I know that? So I took the time to do some introspection and identify areas where I can improve by looking at the situation objectively from a composer's perspective and not subjectively based upon my feelings about my own creation. That gave me a game plan and a strategy to move forward because I knew I could get better. Once I had a strategy in place and some areas to focus on, I was able to move on to step number 3. Learn from it. Now that you know where you can improve, what can you do to turn that into reality? Find resources that are dedicated to your specific desired areas of improvement. Really pay attention to the material being presented to you and frame it as an opportunity to get better at what you desire, not as a chance to fix something that you screwed up. The shift in mentality from a negative to a positive one really does help in the long run and allows you to build your confidence over time, even though it may seem like a really silly idea in the moment. What did I do about the situation in which I found myself? I bought books about composing and orchestration. I enrolled in courses that focus specifically on brass sections. I watch videos about building better melodies. And most important of all, I do hands-on practice with what I've been learning in small chunks. If you just absorb information without doing anything with it, you'll never get better, and you'll be stuck in a permanent state of constantly increasing theory without any actual direction and implementation. Now, theory's great and all, but if you're anything like me, you don't just want to sit around and think about stuff all day. You actually want to do something with that knowledge. And that brings me to my final point. Try again or don't. This is the really critical step and determines what your future looks like. Ask yourself this question: how badly do I want it? If the answer is that it's more of a passing thing, then it's perfectly fine to walk away from it and focus your time and energy elsewhere. You won't really hear people say that it's okay to walk away from it often because the try again mentality is way more prevalent. However, that be good at everything viewpoint is incredibly unrealistic, and it doesn't take into account how the world works either. You'll likely even develop a direct hatred for the thing after you were originally just not all that interested and didn't mind it so much. The way I look at it is this: if I don't particularly care about something, why would I spend even more time doing it when I could focus on something I actually want to do and direct my energy at becoming good at that instead? Both time and life are incredibly limited, so you should do what you enjoy. But if the answer is that you have a true interest in it and you know there's really something there, give it another shot. Come at it from a different angle and try doing it in a way that you really hadn't done before. Changing your mindset and going, let's see what happens if I do this. Or let's see what happens if I try it this way, really works wonders since it gives you an entirely new perspective and a fresh experience. Keep seeing, keep learning, and keep doing. People also really like to say practice makes perfect, but that also isn't true. The real statement is more akin to no amount of improper practice will make you any better. Doing the exact same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result is the definition of insanity, and you will never actually improve that way. You need to get out of your comfort zone and direct your focus in a way that allows you to develop by doing new things or by doing existing things in new ways. The journey won't be easy, but it will be rewarding. Just don't let yourself be discouraged along the way, since nobody else will ever beat us up the way that we beat up ourselves. Now, with the solid 4-point foundation that I've laid out, I'm going to keep on doing what I enjoy and getting better at it. I look forward to you joining me on this journey, and I'd sure love to have you. Until next time, thank you, and I'll see you soon.